Today on episode 105 of Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, an interview with Cubs outfielder Ian Happ, the TCF Sports Minute, our media recommendations of the week, and a TCF top 3 of 4th of July stuff. Let's roll. Hello and welcome to episode 105 of Typical Chicago Fans. It is me, Boomy, on Twitter at BoomyTCF. Make sure to follow the main page at typical_Chicago. Head to Facebook, Instagram, type in Typical Chicago Fans, give those pages a like. Make sure to head over to the YouTube page, type in Typical Chicago Fans, give our pages subscribe there for all of our content in video form. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. But make sure to give the guys that I'm joined with today a follow on Twitter as well. That is Zach at ZLiliaTCF and Maddie, of course, at schools_01. Boys, Ian Happ on the podcast today. Great interview coming for everybody.
It was the coolest thing we've done as Typical Chicago Fans. It was a guy who was going to play for the Chicago Cubs. He was going to the park. He was about to go talk with Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. He talked with me, Boomy, and Maddie for about 25 minutes today, and it was awesome. I mean, when we started this, we could never believe that was something that we were going to be able to do. And thank you to Connect Roasters, Dom, all those guys that helped in with it, with getting Ian Happ and everything, and it was just awesome.
Absolutely great interview. Matt, what were your thoughts getting to talk to Ian Happ here?
I think Zach kind of hit it hit the nail on the head. It was a hell of an experience that I don't think any of us would have, even a week ago, expected we were going to be doing. So kind of landed in our laps, and it was a cool opportunity, and it was awesome of him to give up as much time, out of his day that he did for us. So that was really cool stuff. It was a fun interview, to say the least. So it should be fun to listen to.
Absolutely. And we couldn't have done it without the help of our new sponsors, and that is Connect Roasters. Make sure you check them out. They have the best coffee that you can find. They work with our guy, Dom Frederick, Ian Happ, so it's good stuff. Those guys wouldn't promote bad coffee. And, of course, Zach loves it too. Make sure to check out their website at connectroasters.com. Follow them on Twitter at Connect Roasters. You can find their products in Foxtrot Market, Dom's in Chicago, and of course, if you're in there by chance, at the Wrigley Field Clubhouse. So
I actually have some headed to my house right now.
Gotta love it. Zach wouldn't drink bad coffee, so it's good stuff. But make sure you check out their Home Run Club. Receive a discount every time our guy Ian Happ hits a dinger. ConnectRoasters.com and at Connect Roasters on Twitter. Make sure to check them out. Let's jump into Sinkers and Floaters, leading off the show as always. Boys, and my sinkers is the heat, and I know we talk about weather way too much on here, but it was rainy all the last 2 weeks, and then you go outside today, it's like 90 with no breeze, and I don't know if a chubby guy like myself was quite ready for the 90 degree. I was okay in the 80s. It's just another step up, moving up to the 90s. So hit a little bit different today. It is what it is. It's summertime in Illinois. I should be used to it, but wasn't quite as ready as I thought, I guess.
No, the heat, it stinks. The humidity, it stinks. It's just all around, just a bad time to be in Illinois, I think.
Yeah, it's not fun when you just have to expect that you're gonna sweat the entire time that you're outside. That's not fun.
Yeah,
you walk outside.
Dog days of summer, or whatever you want to call it. It's brutal here.
Yeah.
Humidity is it kills you. It's the worst.
Yeah, I don't like walking outside and instantly, boom, you're sweating. And that's my sinker, boys, sweating. It's that time of year. And sometimes you wear the wrong colored clothes, and then you got the swamp butt. Guys, sweating stinks, and I am a big-time sweater.
Yes.
I may have gained a little weight since high school. I know some people haven't noticed, but get a little sweaty, a little hot outside. I'm not a fan of sweating. I do a lot of things not to sweat.
Where do you guys fall in line with the summer/fireworks stink argument?
They stink.
Prevalent on the internet these days. So, do you think summer stinks, or do you think summer is great?
I love summer. I complain about the heat. Give me
I
like
like
3
summer,
days
but
of it being 90, and then I'll be fine.
Yeah, summer kind of stinks in a way, but it's also for Boomy though. It's different though. Boomy has
That's
nothing to
true.
do in the
I don't work in the heat
summertime.
all summer.
Well, you
That
have
is correct.
It's got its positives and negatives, I think, just like everything. But
Oh,
I don't know.
without a doubt.
Fall's still the best. Let's
very
not kid
true.
ourselves.
Very true.
Let's not kid ourselves there. And my sinker, well, boys, I think I should probably start with my floater first. We're gonna circle back to my sinker, which we're gonna get into leading into the Happ interview, I think. So I'm gonna go to my floater first. All right, my floater, boys, is literally floating, and that's all I did yesterday and Saturday was on a kayak. I spent during my kids' nap, my in-laws graciously decided to hang out at the house so my wife and I could go sit in the kayak on the lake for about 2.5 hours. So filled up a cooler through the cooler in the kayak and just floated around for about 2.5 hours in the blistering heat. So it's nice to jump in the water here and there, but drink a bunch of beers and float in the kayak was not a bad way to
Can't beat
celebrate
that.
the
Your
fourth.
floater is literally floating.
Literally floating. It was literally floating.
My floater, on the other hand, is one of the greatest athletes of our lifetime, and that's Joey Chestnut. 4th of July, Nathan's hot dog eating contest. 10 minutes. I mean, 76 hot dogs and buns. 76. I don't know if I've eaten 76 hot dogs in the last 5 years.
Do they know how much water he consumed with that as well?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Because that is a ridiculous amount of volume.
I think that's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
But I mean, it's awesome, but
it is an unreal thought to put that much food in your stomach that quickly.
20,000 calories is what he consumes.
That's insane.
Most people consume that in
10 days. Yeah, it's
10 days.
10. Yeah, it's 10 days diet roughly.
That is insane. And they also had the first ever Nathan's gallon of lemonade chugging contest, and a man won that. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he definitely took down a gallon in less than 60 seconds, I think.
How do you prep for that though, too? Because that's not like something you can just roll out of bed and do. So it's not, you've got to work up to that.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Joey Chestnut, I follow Joey Chestnut on TikTok, and he'll do videos. He can drink a gallon of milk, no issue.
He's trained.
Right. You've got to I'm sure there's so much planning and stomach stretching and all that stuff.
I have to feel like you've got to work out like a fucking madman though, too, to stay as skinny as he is.
Yeah. Or just have the most insanely high metabolism.
I guess.
But even that, 20,000 calories, that is insane. Zach, what's your floater for us?
My floater is with me and Boomy leaving for vacation on Sunday. It's those days leading up to the vacation. You're excited. You're that last day of work before vacation. That's what I'm going through this next week. I'm pumped.
It's the preparation.
Yes.
Making sure your stuff is packed. Make sure you have everything you need. Making that trip to the grocery store to that.
It's like the day or two before Christmas is almost more fun than Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. And then we got 14 and a half hours in the car one way. So I know what you're saying. The preparation leading up to leaving for vacation is definitely up there.
I'm very excited about it. We're going to be going to the Home Run Derby, doing a lot of content. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be awesome.
You guys got to go through Omaha or go through Nebraska and the eastern half of Colorado, on the Dumb and Dumber moped.
Yes. I think about that the couple times I've been out that way. I think of that every time. So
I think you guys should do that.
Yeah, we'll rent one in Omaha.
There we go.
Maddie, what's your sinker for the week?
All right, boys. My
Other
sinker.
Than your podcast host is an idiot who can't figure anything out.
Other than me throwing curveballs on my host here and going out of order. Out of order too was my traffic, and it all led to this interview with Ian Happ today. This is an absolute disaster. Leave the in-laws lake house this morning. Plenty of time, absolutely no issue. Everything's good to roll, no traffic at all. We're cruising, even to the point where I told Maggie, anytime we come back from there, this is when we're leaving. There's literally no traffic.
What'd you do, Maddie? Maddie, what'd you say?
I'm like, there is no traffic at all. We're going 80.
Man.
I mean, we're going to get home with an hour and a half before even we thought we were going to need to like get on to prep. Like we said, I thought 11 o'clock was going to be a realistic arrival time. And that would have been outstanding. All of a sudden, we get off. Maggie needed to use the bathroom real quick. So she goes in. We get back on, cruising along fine, and no more. I look down at this exit, and I wasn't paying attention to Waze on my phone, and it's telling me to get off. And I'm like, you don't get off here. It's 39.90 like the whole way back into Illinois. And like a screeching halt, dude. Just comes to us, just a dead stop.
No.
Just an absolute dead stop. So for 40 minutes, the interstate is just done. And it comes down to we got to go 2 miles down where 3 lanes are feeding into an on-ramp because they're shutting down both sides of the interstate, north and southbound, completely shutting it down for like 8 miles just north of Janesville. So something really bad happened. So obviously whatever there, that stinks, obviously. But so reroutes everything. So I jump back, I'm driving in the middle of, I have no idea where the hell I am. Waze isn't working because my internet signal's going out. It's not working on my wife's phone. So don't have maps anymore because you have your phone, obviously. So I didn't even have a map anymore like I would have used to back in the day. So total screw job here. And now we're running late for the interview. That's like the biggest thing, like Zach said, to happen to this little podcast here that we really do. So end up not going to make it home in time. Wife brilliantly calms me down and finds a McDonald's that's got Wi-Fi.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine how you were, Maddie.
Yeah, picture of calm. She I'm the same way. Found a Wi-Fi spot for me. Went and got lunch for the kid. Took him out. Had like a little picnic outside with him, and did it from the car in a McDonald's parking lot in Hampshire. So
and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, we'll see how the quality is leading into that, but that's my sinker, boys.
Just so you know,
like we had to flip it on you, Boomy, just to go into that interview. So
just so you know about this interview, Boomy was at the Brookfield Zoo parking lot. Maddie was at the McDonald's parking lot.
Here's the other thing too: is I thought we were gonna make it home in time, and it's like I'm hauling ass down the interstate, and all of a sudden the kid who's been such a trooper goes, "Daddy, I gotta pee." What am I going to do? Kid's got to stop. We're in the middle of potty training, so it's not like I can tell him to hold it. Kid's got to go. So that's where we got. That's how I ended up at the McDonald's parking lot for the. No offense to Dom, but the biggest interview I would say that I've ever been a part of. So
yeah, no offense to any of our amazing guests.
Absolutely.
He plays for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible guests. So. With that being said, let's go ahead and throw it to that interview. It's Ian Happ. He plays the outfield for the Cubs. You know him. You love him. We'll go ahead and throw it to our interview with Mr. Ian Happ.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very special guest to welcome to the podcast today. He's the first professional athlete to come on the TCF podcast. First-round pick out of Cincinnati, 9th overall in 2015. Absolute stud for the Bearcats, as you can imagine. Host of the Compound podcast with Dakota Mekas and Zach Short, where our guy Dom Frederick has made many guest appearances as well. Shout out Dom. He also has his own quarantine coffee with Connect Roasters. He's a starting outfielder for your Chicago Cubs. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Happ. Ian, how are you today, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate the little fluff to lead it off too. That's nice.
I got to give Boomy credit on that. He's usually the writer. We mixed it up a little bit. He let me do the talking for this one, but thanks for jumping on with us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm pumped. The first official Connect Roasters sponsored podcast.
Yes, typical Chicago fans.
It's got a nice ring to it.
That's got a very nice ring too, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump right into it then. So the first question is, who is the person or the group of people that introduced you to coffee and helped you find your love for coffee and kind of how that relationship developed?
Yeah, my parents were both definitely big coffee addicts when I was growing up. They needed the coffee in the morning, but it was like a super dark, like the Starbucks dark roast. We're talking mud. And they were drinking just straight motor oil. So my brother and I actually, after I got drafted, we moved down to Austin together and lived together for like 5 years. And so he started to slowly introduce me to like nicer high-end coffee because he had lived in Chicago for 3 years. And started drinking some nice pour over, some French press. So that's where it really started. after I got drafted. And then when I was in the first got to the big leagues, I would go and look for a nice coffee shop in all the cities we visited, and just kind of seeing all these coffee shops around the country with really nice, like, light roast being introduced to that. I was like, all right, this is something that I can get into. I can get behind. Like, I need to make myself pour over in the mornings in the off season. Like, I can't be messing around with this burnt, gross, like, dark roast coffee. Can't be doing it. So that's how it started. And now I'm pour over only, and I try to convert everybody I meet to, like, high-end Connect roasters, wonderful coffee.
That was kind of my first
Good.
experience with coffee. Is my grandparents always used to drink it, and it was kind of like like you said, the mud, the sludge. It was kind of gross. I'm like, this must how all coffee tastes. That's disgusting. And then when I got a little bit older, I got to, like, drink some of the flavored coffees, the coffees that's got more of a flavor to it, and now it helps me get to work and everything in the morning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how people are still drinking sludge. Like, coffee has come such a long way. Like, there's no need to do it anymore. You don't have to grab a can of Folgers. Like, there's plenty of options out there. Just get yourself some nice light roasted beans.
Yeah, me and Boomy's
The-
grandpa,
the-
like, he would drink it all day.
The aluminum can. The aluminum can has a ring for coffee. It's just there's something wrong with it.
Yeah, it's not. That's not how you do it.
All right. Well, I'm not a subscriber to the Home Run Club yet. Zach here was one of the first members, though. I know he had to be.
I got the first letter right here.
Fuck yeah.
I know the first day you were right there. But we got to have you put your sales pitch in here. So why should I or any of our fine listeners join up with the Home Run Club? Tell us a little bit about the program, what some of the perks that go with it, some of the cool things that you do for the people that join up.
Yeah, there are some cool perks. I think, like, the first thing that's really cool is that you don't have to worry about going out and getting yourself coffee. Like, you don't have to worry about being low on coffee and going to the grocery store. Every month, you're going to get a bag. You can do 2 bags if you're a big coffee drinker, but you're going to get a bag of coffee shipped without having to worry about it. The one thing that Connect's really good at, they're shipping coffee on time, and it's going to be fresh.
It's very quick. I've gotten some through there, and it's like a day or 2 after you order it.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly they get it out. And then there's free shipping on everything on the site after that, once you're a member of the Home Run Club. We're doing special drops once a month where it's like game-used cleats, bats, cards that only Home Run Club members have access to. And then the biggest thing
I got the
is
signed
that,
card right here.
yeah, there we go. And the biggest thing is that you are supporting the local charities. Whatever coffee that you sign up for, there's different charity associated with all of them. The Morale Blend is supporting the First Tee. We have the Save the Children and the Chicago Food Bank. So what Connect's doing with giving back in the community and helping people is awesome. And then every time I hit a homer, you get $5 to go on the site. You can use it on merch, hats, shirts, that amazing Morale Blend shirt right there. Or
yeah, I actually used I think you had 2 home runs there back to back pretty quick. I used the $10 on the shirt, so
yeah,
that was awesome.
I think that's been the coolest thing, is seeing people, like, use the $10 on a shirt or on coffee to give to friends or on, like, a card. So I think that's what's been fun for us, is seeing what people are using the Home Run Club money on, and then just supporting the community. I think that's Connect is doing such a good job of ingraining itself with the community, and the charities have been so thankful. So we're really appreciative of how much they care about what we're doing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's all around the Chicago area. But what do you think the future is for Connect Roaster and Ian Happ? Do you see new flavors, new products? Is there a cold brew, like at-home iced coffee, and an area the Connect Roasters is looking to go into?
It's a great question. I think right now we're trying to get into as many stores in Chicago as possible. I think we just got in Dom's Market, which opened downtown, and we're looking to expand that. If we can get it more into the suburbs, more into some of the grocery stores, I think that would be awesome for us. Just some wholesale accounts to get more people availability to it in their local grocery stores. But then we've talked a lot about cold brew, and actually Steingold's downtown has our cold brew on tap. So it's been great to hear the feedback from that. And then we actually have it in the clubhouse.
That's
So
awesome.
the group that does our food in the clubhouse, Kitch Fix, they make the cold brew in-house off of our beans, and Caleb's kind of directed them how to do that. And so the guys, so we have these like 6 or 8 ounce bottles of cold brew, and they're plastic with this blue cap. Guys,
There we
love
go.
it. The guys
the way to
absolutely
go.
love it. They're pulling it out of the fridge every day. And so we're thinking about how we can get that to more people. And right now it's just Steingolds, but we think there's definitely a future with the Connect Cold Brew.
That's
Gotta
awesome.
Bust out the cold brew when you hit like the 10th, 11th inning, get that extra kick late in the game there. You know?
That's usually what I do. I'll go grab one in like the 5th or the 6th of a day game and like put down half of that, or right before night game.
Is that a big thing? Do you guys drink coffee during the games and stuff?
Definitely coaching staff drinks coffee right before, during, and then guys, it just depends what kind of energy drinks guys go for. You know, some guys do like a fast twitch, or some guys will do like a Red Bull, but there's a lot of guys that just do coffee because they don't want like the jitteriness of, or like the sugar aspect of the energy drink. So a lot of guys will do kind of a cold brew or a coffee and that's what I like to do.
Let's try to test it over time too with coffee. That's the thing. But I thought I remember a feature a couple years ago about you being a wine connoisseur too, or almost a borderline sommelier, as they call them. So you're clearly a man about hydration. Is there any other specialty drinks that we need to know about? Is there a beer brewing up next, or an Ian Happ line of sodas, or something that we can be expecting down the line?
Beverage man.
There is I'm a big wine fan. I got really into wine after I got drafted and started drinking a bunch of different wine. It's a fascinating, like, I wish I knew that much. Like, I wish my palate was that good with coffee. Like, tasting coffee with Caleb, the founder of Connect, is incredible, because the guy's, he's pulling flavors that I like, yeah, it's really good coffee, but he's like, no. This is what I taste. I'm like, wow, this guy's unbelievable. But actually, so our podcast is sponsored by Parse Rum, and Parse and Connect are doing a collab where there's going to be a Parse coffee. So we're going to do, we took I didn't do this. Okay, this was Caleb's idea. He's the mastermind. But they took the beans. Yeah, it was all me. They took the Connect beans and put them in a Parse rum barrel, an old barrel.
Wow.
And so they've been aging in this barrel, and I think they just took them out maybe, and now they're going to roast them and kind of see what coffee it's going to make. It should be really, really interesting.
That sounds amazing.
Figured out whenever your baseball career is done, I think you're just going into the beverage industry. You're all over it, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be a beverage mogul.
Absolutely.
Well, if somebody figured out that you could take like bottled water, or put water in a bottle and start flipping it for $3 a bottle about 25 years ago, that was genius thinking right there. So
yeah, we're just doing different types of clean waters, pH balanced waters. It's all the same water.
There you go.
Ian, are you still getting Parse yelled at you in the outfield?
All the time. Yeah. I was coming off the field. I was coming off the field from BP in Cincinnati. And so Cincinnati, the dugout, the fans are right on top of you. And when you're coming down to go into the locker room, like, they're in your face. And our BP is really late there. So like the Friday games, Saturday games were sold out. And it was, 50-50 Cubs fans probably. And I have this guy, right? He's right on top of the dugout, leaning over into the netting like this, going, "What I say, Parse?" I was like, holy shit. In my face. And like,
the best marketing you can ask for.
Sometimes I wonder if that guy legitimately expects me to look at him and scream like, "Rob!" like right at him.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like, he got through the whole thing, and I was like, yeah, man, nice.
Good job, man.
Thanks.
I'm playing a baseball game here.
Yeah.
You're reaching your customers there at least. So there you go.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome that people are listening and making an impact. Dakota actually just texted us yesterday and said there was a girl at the Iowa Cubs game that came up to the bullpen and was like, "Hey, Really cool you guys are talking about mental health, and she really appreciated that because something that happened in her life, and just to hear that people are listening and caring about the stuff we're saying is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
That's very
Absolutely.
awesome.
Well, we'd be a little remiss if we didn't touch on some baseball stuff. So on a recent episode of The Compound, like you were just saying, your co-star, Zach Short, was talking about, quote unquote, hanging out with his baseball cards, telling a story about, hanging out with Miguel Cabrera. What was one of your first moments that you remember, like, oh my God, I'm peers with this guy. I'm a professional baseball player with this guy, or meeting this guy or seeing this guy, whatever the case is?
Yeah, I think the first one, like teammate wise, was definitely Lackey and Lester.
Yeah.
First of all, they're massive humans. Like they're gargantuan, like 6'6". They're like a different breed, but they're not just tall. They're like two.
They're imposing dudes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just getting to the big leagues, I was in spring training with them, and I was actually sandwiched in between them at the lockers. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like I'm with these guys, and then when I actually was on the team and started like hanging out with those guys, that was like this is pretty crazy that I'm not only in the same locker room as these guys competing with them, but like friends. And I really tried, because I knew that was probably Lack's last year. So I really tried to take that in with Lack and just kind of enjoy the fact that he'd been in the big leagues for like 15, 16 years at that point, maybe more. And it was like,
Just soak it all in what he's got to offer.
yeah, and just think about like this guy was in the World Series with the Angels in the early 2000s. Like it was nuts. And then the biggest one for me, opposing player wise, was we were in Miami playing the Marlins pretty early into my career, a couple months, and I fielded a ground ball and threw Ichiro out. And I was like, that's ridiculous. Like I remember pulling I got a brick of cards in 2001 and pulled an Ichiro rookie card and was like, this is awesome, like Ichiro rookie card. And then I fielded a ground ball and threw him out at first, and that was I was like,
that would hit me. That would hit me. That's a great story though.
That would be just amazing. Like the players, like you just grew up watching, and then you just like, casually threw him out at first base.
Yeah, I've played against Pujols now, which is really cool. Not just in spring training, but we played him with the Dodgers. So, getting to play against Pujols, absolute legend. Cabrera was a big one. I faced a couple pretty cool pitchers in my career. Kershaw's punched me out a few times, which is just great. So,
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Yeah. I think when he was going for 2,000, I think it was 2,000 or 2,500 or something. I don't know, but I was pretty close to being the number. Not quite, but pretty close.
All right. Well, all three of us here are all very, very big Cub fans. And obviously, it's been a bit of a rough stretch lately for the Northsiders. As someone who's been around for some of like the really, really good times for the Cubs, what does the clubhouse do, or where does the focus go in these sort of dips? The 162 games, there's going to be highs and lows. Is it kind of a focus on the fundamentals again, back to the basics? What do you do when you're trying to not, focus on not pressing in these kind of situations?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part. I think everybody, when you're going through a stretch like this, especially when it's on the offense, that the offense hasn't really produced enough to give us a chance day in and day out. And like that's, early in the season, that's what happened. And then we got hot, and the offense was really felt like we were clicking. And so when you feel like, you're putting up 2 runs, 3 runs, and not quite getting it done, I think everybody on the team, especially with a team like ours where everybody can hit one out of the park and everybody's had success at the big leagues at one time or another, and not just like a lot of success at the big leagues at one time or another. I think everybody feels like they can be the guy to kind of jump us out of the stretch, out of the rut. And so it's really hard to not try too hard, to not try to be the guy that pops the big homer, or, drives, like hits a double and drives 2 runs in a third to kind of give us some breathing room. And so I think you just try to communicate with each other. You try to be as open and kind of talk each other through it and stay really supportive. I think the easiest thing to do in a time like this is feel like when you get down, the game's over. And you just really have to kind of grind through that and try to do the little things right. singles, walks, not chasing out of the zone, trying to be really disciplined in that way. And we have been through tough stretches like that. I don't know if we've ever lost 9 in a row since I've been here. It's a lot. But stuff like that happens through 162, and I think we do have a really good ball club. I think we have a great offense, and I think it's just going to be. June was a tough month, and I think that was kind of piggybacked in that last series just because 2 West Coast trips, all the night game getaways, different time
By
zones.
far the toughest stretch of the schedule too. I feel, for the season.
Some pitching staffs that were just really good. I mean, even like the Marlins pitching staff is incredible. The Mets, what they're running out there, and then obviously with the Dodgers and the Giants and Padres. So it's just trying to get into a rhythm now. We get 9 games at home maybe before the break, and then we get those couple of days to regroup. And I think this team could be poised for a really big second half. It's just going to be, how can we keep the group together and really feeling confident going into the second half.
How big of a boost is it
always...
use some morale blend right here.
Or just go read some Dom Frederick tweets. I mean, there's...
How big of a boost is it really to go back to Wrigley Field tonight? You feel the atmosphere. You're back at the Federal Landmark. How much of a boost really is that for a team?
It's huge. It's huge. I think just for us, it's being able to get home, sleep in your same bed, go through kind of a normal routine, and then really have like Wrigley. The atmosphere is amazing. What the fans give us playing there, it's really special. But what fans don't get to see is what we have underneath at Wrigley, which is like the most awesome clubhouse. Like our facilities downstairs, since they redid them, are a joke. So like being able to get in there, use all the facilities, and really prepare yourself for a game in that way, is when you get 10 days of that, it's pretty great.
Yeah, because I remember 15 years ago, I went on a tour of Wrigley Field, and I can't imagine how different it is.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was there in 15 after I got drafted in the old clubhouse, and I took BP with the team. And then obviously when we called back up in 17, it was like, this is a little bit different, boys.
Just a little bit.
All right. I know you're we're getting close to the end of the time we got with you. So we're just going to peel back the onion a little bit, do a couple rapid fire questions, let our listeners get to know you. Should be some quick answers for you. I'm going to start. What's your the perfect pregame meal?
Ooh. Perfect pregame meal. I'm a big Wrigley day game guy, 120s. So I'm going there's this amazing, it's Tommy LaStella creation. It's called the Green Monster. All right. It's egg whites, avocado, a little bit of like chicken or turkey, and it's an incredible like scramble they make in the kitchen called the Green Monster. Shout out Tommy LaStella.
Love that.
Yummy.
Best Cubs uniform. Your
Wow.
whites, your grays, or your blues? Which one? You got to pick one.
The whites, the pinstripe whites are the best, but I have to say, I wish we would bring back like a Friday day game, Sandberg, blue belts.
Yes.
Like, I wish we would bring back some of the like legendary Cubs throwbacks and just wear them like once a week.
Yeah, my kid's got the V-neck Sandberg like throwback one. It's sick. It's just a sick jersey. All right, best fastball you faced.
Shit. I'm gonna go with. This is probably because I was young. Trevor Rosenthal, in his prime, throwing hundo balls when he was with Cards.
He was lights out there for a while. All right, I have, of course, fastball there. What about the best breaking ball?
Best breaking ball. I'm trying to think who had like the sharp. Charlie Morton this year in Atlanta he was throwing some shit. That was crazy.
I couldn't even imagine. What's your favorite off-season activity?
Golf. No
Golf.
question.
Love it.
Good
Love
answer.
it. Love it.
Circle back to coffee. Hot or iced?
Hot.
Clubhouse nickname.
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually Happer.
Happer. No other variations. They just keep it.
Yeah, Happy once in a while, but it's more Happer. Those are the two.
What's your favorite road city?
Favorite road city all around? New York.
Love it.
Really?
Yeah, New York for 3 or 4 days is wonderful.
Pittsburgh kid growing up and going to the big city then, huh?
Yeah. New York for 3 or 4 days is special. San Diego's a good one. I always like going back to Pittsburgh, but I'm gonna go New York.
Interesting.
I saw you
What
guys
about
play
minor
2
league
years
city?
ago there.
What about the minor leagues?
Yeah, what was your favorite minor league city?
Nashville.
Nashville.
Pretty easy
That's
answer
right.
I've been there a few times.
All right, boys. Well, I don't got anything else. I don't know about Zach, Chance. You guys got anything?
Thank you so much for coming on, Ian. Like I said, with the Connect Roasters and everything, I know you got a game tonight. But again, it's awesome for us that you made the time to come on our podcast. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah, appreciate
Absolutely.
you, fellas.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ian.
Good luck
Talk soon.
tonight.
All right.
Thank you again to our guy Ian Happ for taking time out of his day today to join us on the podcast. Make sure to go to Twitter and make sure you thank him for coming on. But boys,
Order
let's
some coffee too.
Yeah, absolutely. Order some coffee, help out some good causes. And like we said earlier, it's absolutely delicious coffee. You won't be disappointed. Make sure you join that home run club while you're there. But let's jump into the TCF Sports Minute. We talked to Ian a little bit, so we'll just cover a little bit of the Cubs. 9-game losing streak. All right. Times are a little dark. That's okay.
It changes tonight. They're going to beat the Phillies. The TCF boost for the Chicago Cubs. It's real.
Some people are saying that will be a real thing. So, I mean, yes, it looks, doom and gloom now. But like Ian said in the interview, this team is very talented offensively. They get on a hot roll here. Milwaukee's on a streak right now, and it's a 162-game season. So you can't, with all the talent that is there, you can't just be like, okay, well, it's over now. Let's move on. Like, there is talent there, and he made a point of saying, see what happens, and when you come back from the All-Star break, you got a week left, and go from there. So, what are you guys' thoughts on the Cubs right now?
It's not great right now, but like Ian said, if they can win some games at home before the All-Star break, and then get back at it after the All-Star break, they had a tough schedule, but the offense definitely has not been playing very well. If you could turn that around and see what happens, but the division's quickly going away from them, and like I said, they need to have a winning record this week is what they need.
Go on a nice little run.
Yeah, something. Win a few games, please.
Definitely need to. They can't afford much more the other way. So it's going to be it's kind of nut crunching time really when you get down to it. Let's not kid ourselves. So it's definitely time that they got to start winning games, and they got to start winning them in bunches. But
talent is there though.
100%. That offense does have
for
some
now.
firepower. Yep.
It is for now. I hope it stays, but I don't know.
On the other side of town, the White Sox sitting at 49-34. They are up to a 6-game lead in the AL Central with the Cavalry coming behind, and in Robert and Eloy. And then obviously the story comes out early Monday morning about them being interested in Trevor Story, which would be a huge piece. It should be interesting to see what they would have to give up for him.
Dude.
I mean, why would you?
They got to be the favorites to win it all then at that point if they land Trevor Story.
You add Trevor Story to that lineup, that's you're talking danger. I mean, it's already good enough as it is. You've got Jimenez coming back, and you've got Robert. And if you add Trevor Story to that lineup, I mean, you're already up 6 games. You're just, reinforcing what you've already done.
Get Grandal, get him some time to heal up to and let him get rested up for the playoffs. Because really, when you need him for at this point, you're going to need him for September and October at this point. And, that he's going to be like, I would focus on getting a guy like that healthy, and like you said, Lou, Bob, and Eloy coming back, or they're going to be bringing the Thunder back to that lineup real quickly. So
definitely. Zach, any thoughts on the White Sox?
They're playing very well. I'm happy for all the fans. And
Kopech back too.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's They're going to be a force in October. Let's just get ready for it, boys, because they're going to be dangerous, and they're probably going to win a World Series in the next couple of years. Let's not joke. Let's not kid ourselves.
We're going in different directions here.
Yeah, this is the part too. For Sox fans, though, this is when it's fun. Like the climb. Like that's the best part. Like when you're on the cusp of it and you're not quite there, that part is the best. I love that part.
Definitely feels very reminiscent of 2015 on the north side. So, yeah, absolutely. In other sports, game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Matt, this thing's over, right? We can just move this on quickly, right?
I finally got a series right, boys. And I said Tampa was going to mop the floor with them, and that's what they're doing. So
it has not even been. I mean, Tampa's clearly just. I mean, leaps and bounds.
This is the Montreal team that should have lost in the first round to Toronto when they had a 3-1 lead.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. So, if they don't close it out tonight, it'll be here within the next couple days. Another Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay, but tomorrow, Tuesday, game 1. Yeah, that people have been saying that. Tuesday. The NBA Finals kicks off in one of the smallest markets. Two teams from the smallest markets we've seen in a while, Phoenix and Milwaukee. Real quick predictions here, boys. Who do you got in the series and how many games?
I think Suns in 6.
Suns in 4's got a nice ring to it, but I do think the Suns will win it probably in, I'll say 5 or 6 games. Yeah, I'll say 6 too. I'll go with 6. I'll ride Zach.
Bucks in 7.
Look at Boomy.
Do we know if Giannis is going to play? I mean, do we?
No idea.
I mean,
no. I don't think that'll be announced until probably Tuesday midday.
Do we have any hint, any suggestion, any gut feeling, anybody thinking that he's going to play at all? I mean, that was a gruesome looking injury. I don't know how that's a 1 or 2 week thing. That's something. Even if you do come back early, it's not like you're going to be
100%
exploding all over the place.
You saw what happened when Trae Young tried to come back. I mean, he played well, but it's just tough.
Not
and Giannis's game too is a little bit of a. He needs it's explosion based.
He needs to be able to get to the rim quickly, and with a knee injury,
running the floor, and
most definitely. And the last thing we have in the TCF Sports Minute is last week, before or after we recorded last week's episode, the NCAA announced name, image, and likeness that student athletes at every level, Division 1, 2, and 3, are now able to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. We've seen a ton of student athletes sign with companies. Spencer Rattler signs a huge deal with Raising Cane's, and then obviously Barstool has their their athletes that are a part of the family. But I think. I love this. This is incredible.
It's awesome. It's what's needed to happen for a long time.
Yeah. I wonder if back in 2010, if a Division I women's basketball head manager could have made any money, but probably not. That's just me spitballing here.
I'd have to think no, Boomy.
You never know. I'm pretty creative. I could have found a way.
Thing is, anyway, you see the twins from the volleyball twins. I forgot what school they're from. They have like million plus followers on TikTok. And so it's like they can monetize their TikTok accounts now and just be, because their celebrity isn't even in volleyball, but they can use that platform there too. It's like, brings so many more eyes to the game. So it's good for that too. It's not just good for these, money in the, the athletes' pockets where it should be as well, but it's also good for the sports to get more eyes on these people too.
And that's a good point, Matt. And I also thought about it too. Like, it's very good even for like the Division 2 and 3 kids that have barely gotten talked about. I mean, yeah, they might not be getting the same, deals that division like Spencer Rattler's getting, or something like that. But there's still a way, and a lot of these Division 2 and 3 schools are in smaller towns. There's
but maybe you can get your books covered.
Right. Yes. Anything. I mean, especially Division 3, where you're not playing for any sports money whatsoever. I mean, everything that they get is based on academics. A couple $100 goes a long way to those, kids living in a small town, and, they can go out and promote themselves, their team, their sport, and help out a local company.
Some D3 football players, a Twitch streamer who's, got a huge following on Twitch.
Exactly.
Why can't he make money off that? It's just insane. So it's that many more people that are going to check out what that kid did for XYZ college at the NAI level, whatever it may be. So,
and I'm sure I'm sure there's somewhere some old curmudgeon is arguing against this, but I just don't see any. I mean, if they keep track of this, I mean, yeah, there's a possibility that it gets out of control. But I mean, if they govern this correctly, there's very few downsides to this. And obviously, schools are going to have to adapt, and they're going to have to. I believe. Oh my God, maybe it was Liberty set up the first name, image, and likeness advisor for their sports programs.
See,
Like
those kind of things are smart. Get the attorneys involved, get some representation involved a little bit for them, and make sure they're covered legally.
Like, you've seen all the commercials, like how many kids play high school sports that become college athletes, that become pro athletes. Like a lot of these kids are not going to play professional sports after they finish at whatever college they're at. Now they have a little bit of a business background to take into something they have a passion for. And I think this is a win-win situation. And like I said, as long as the NCAA regulates it and keeps their eye on it and doesn't let it run amok, which, I mean, that is asking a lot out of the NCAA. But, I think if this is done right, this is great for the student athletes. It's a great way, like you said, to get their name and their brands out there. So
it's almost like what Johnny Manziel said about it, where he told kids, like, basically set up a whatever shipping account it was, stamps.com or whatever, set up this. He's like, get your merchandise in order using this and just start shipping it out, guaranteed, and cover it all yourself, and you'll make boatloads. So he gave kids the roadmap for it. So I don't know, man. Learn from the best who probably would have made a boatload back in the day for himself.
Oh yeah. Zach, anything on the name, image, and likeness from the NCAA?
I think it's just one less thing that the NCAA has to worry about now. It's like one less thing they have to hear about all the time.
Yep. It's one less thing for them to govern that they shouldn't be involved in.
Yeah, they shouldn't have. That should be none of their business, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until, like you said, you got to make sure it doesn't get out of control in any way. But
right, you don't have some kid collecting a $500,000 check to work at a car dealership that he never, like booster stuff. But with compliance offices at every,
make sure it's all legit.
As a high school coach, do you worry about that trickling down into the high school level at any point, like with recruiting or possibly anything like that?
Not where I'm at. No, not really.
But in general, I think
I guess.
Yeah, I think if you're,
that's true. The AAU camps and the shoe deals there and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's, but like you said, it's stuff. It basically went from being kind of the back alley stuff to now it's out in the light, so it's a little bit easier to govern. I think this is going to be beneficial for the kids, and if you keep out the seedy characters that are not. I just want to make sure that whatever's being done is being done for the benefit of the kids and not a way to scare them.
I have one more question I want to get your guys' opinion on too. Does this keep anybody, maybe fringe players in the NFL or NBA, from entering too early?
Yeah, I think that will definitely play in. You don't chase. Maybe we've seen how many times over a kid that maybe came to the league too early got hit the pace of the game, hit him a little too hard, or couldn't adapt to the lifestyle, the speed of life, and maybe cost him really badly, and he was going because you got to go make his money, but. Now it's like, hey, maybe we can wait a year and I can develop and, even finish my degree if if it's talking about a kid going from a second year to a third year to a fourth year, maybe you can stay and finish your degree and make some money on the side and still improve at your craft. And then you're more prepared to go to whatever professional league, that you choose. I think I didn't even think of that, Maddie. Let's jump into our media recommendations of the week. Remember, these could be anything: podcasts, albums, TV shows, movies, video games, whatever we've been enjoying on our medias. I'm going to go ahead and get started, and it's a movie on Netflix. I have been on a big movie kick per usual, but it is called Fear Street Part 1, 1994 on Netflix. If you love horror movies or even enjoy horror movies, it's very well done. Little supernatural, little not. But it's based in 1994, so it's cool to see the nostalgia. We talked about, on Stranger Things, all the nostalgia stuff going on in there. It was cool to see all that stuff, the music. It was definitely worth a watch. Fear Street Part 1, 1994 on Netflix. Make sure to check that out. Zach, what is your media recommendation for the week?
Mine is, I probably said before, don't care. The Compound podcast with Ian Happ, Zach Short, Dakota Mekas. I mean, it's an awesome podcast. It was one of the reasons why we kind of got Ian on the podcast in a ways because he listened to it and kind of just he kind of showed us in a little bit of a way how to do some podcasting and how to have some. They have so much fun on there. It kind of feels like what we do on here. So I just think if you were listening to this podcast, you will like that podcast too.
You will absolutely love the Compound. You got to give it a listen. If you're not listening by now and you claim to be a Cubs fan, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, they don't talk all about the Cubs, but they give you some nice backstory on some things, and they're just guys who are playing baseball and just having fun, which we wish we could be doing.
It's very normal conversation. It's very just like, I don't know, like you would just hear like three normal people just talking about like their experiences in their sport. It was very cool, the episodes I've listened to recently.
Let's go ahead and finish up. As always, we've got the TCF top 3, and we are doing 4th of July stuff. So, Zach, would you like to get us going here on the 4th of July draft?
Yes, I'm going to have to go with it. We already talked about it. Just a good old-fashioned having some hot dogs. It's easy to make. You can make a ton of them. You can make a ton of them quickly. Yes. No, not 76. That's disgusting.
Oh, I didn't know if you were trying to catch Joey Chestnut. I didn't know.
But it's just easy, and it's just like, oh, I'm at the 4th of July party. Boom, hot dogs.
Great call.
I'm going to go with a bonfire is always a staple. It seems like even no matter how hot it is, there's always a bonfire. There's always like, that whole vibe, that atmosphere. So everything that goes with it, the scenery, it's usually the backdrop for a lot of hanging out. So I'm going to go with a bonfire, the 4th of July, bonfire night.
Great call.
Usually shit's exploding in there too.
Good call. I'm going to go with my first round pick. I'm going to do and I know this is breaking flag code, but I love a good American flag short or an American flag like tank top or t-shirt or something. So turning the American flag into your clothing item of choice. I've got way too many American flag tank tops than I care to admit. But you only get to bust them out maybe once or twice a year. And, that's your time to show out. So I'm going to go with that. I am then also going to go with, I'm just going to go with cold beer. Because usually the 4th of July is as hot as it gets. It's usually right around that time of the year. There is nothing better than dipping into that. And I guess I have some people that would call me out on this, or a nice cold seltzer, because I drink more seltzers than beer now, and I'm okay with that. So a nice cold adult beverage straight out of the cooler.
I like it.
I'm going to go with, I don't know how I want to phrase this, but I want it to be Ray Charles' version of America the Beautiful. That's like the 4th of July song. So whether it's the scene from Sandlot, where it's playing over the fireworks in the game they're playing at night, just the song in general, whatever it may be, that's 4th of July in a song capsule right there.
Great call. Great call. Zach, you got 2 to finish up.
I'm going to go with I won't go specifically cold beer because Boomy took it, but having that American flag koozie on a cold beer, sitting by the pool, sitting at like a picnic or something. I guess not a picnic. You wouldn't have a picnic on 4th of July. Barbecue. I meant to say, barbecue. I don't know why I said picnic. I've never even been on a picnic before. But yeah, you gotta have the koozie, American flag koozie. You really only use it one time a year, maybe, but that's the day.
Good call. Good call. And your 3rd round pick?
Let's see here. Not a fan of fireworks, so that can't be mine. I'd say no. Going to the lake. I don't do it a lot, but going to a lake on the 4th of July just seems right.
It's a good way to do it for sure.
It's like, there's always fireworks at a lake.
Fireworks on a lake are definitely a good way to go.
Mm-hmm. Good call. Maddie, your 3rd round pick.
This one, I just gotta go with I know we already picked the food. I'm debating between, do I go with an entree or do I go with the dessert? And the dessert's a staple. I'm going to go with the entree, even though Zach already went with the hot dog. I'm going to go with just a cheeseburger. The grilled cheeseburger because everybody's outside. They're quick. It's, you throw a bunch of shit on there. You can eat them plain. It's always good. It's good later on in the night. It's good the following day, whatever it may be. So I'm going to go with the 4th of July barbecue cheeseburgers, kind of a
That
staple.
is the clear and present number 2 entree of 4th of July. Without it.
Fine. I think hot dogs are an appetizer, but we'll save that for
I'm kind of with you there, but I think if you're talking general consensus.
I mean, I'm not ripping the hot dog by any means. It's just like I would eat 5 hot dogs just like I would eat 5 French fries. You know what I mean? And then I would eat a cheeseburger. So it's like, because you just like pop one in. There's hot dogs there. So I don't know. That's where you lose me a little bit with the entree side of it. They're delicious. They're fantastic. But you just snack on them for you know what I mean?
But there's different sized hot dogs.
It's true. It's true. You get the giant ones are a good way to go. So I'm not criticizing the hot dog selection by any means.
Kind of sounds like it.
Just view it in a different lens.
Just the category that it may be as an entree as well.
I'm going to be very specific here because I have mentioned I don't like fireworks, but with the town that my wife is from, a town of 1,000 people max, puts on the best fireworks show. I'm going to go with the Walnut, Illinois fireworks, just because it's such a small town. They have put on a $10,000 or $15,000 fireworks display. You would never expect it from a town like that, and it lasts twice as long as any of the big towns around here. It is without a doubt the best. Walnut, Illinois fireworks on the 4th of July. If you haven't been there, you need to get there next year, 2022. So, Walnut, Illinois, shout out. Boys, that was episode 105. Special guest Ian Happ. Thank you to Ian Happ for jumping on with us here today. Make sure that you follow him on Twitter if you're not already. I don't know what you're doing. But also a big thank you to our sponsor, 26shirts.com Chicago. Head over to their website, 26shirts.com Chicago, to find some of the coolest Chicago sports merch around. They've got T-shirts, hats, hoodies, flags, whatever you need. They have it. Use promo code Typical Chicago Fans. They help out good cause. And with that promo code, you get 15% off your order. Helps out the podcast, helps out charities. What more could you ask for? It's 26shirts.com/Chicago. Promo code Typical Chicago Fans. Also, make sure to check out our friends over at Connect Roasters for the best coffee that you can find. There you go. You get some new clothes. You get some new coffee. Feeling like a new person. ConnectRoasters.com, on Twitter at Connect Roasters. You can find them at Foxtrot Market, Dom's. And, of course, if you're at the clubhouse in Wrigley for the Cubs, you can check out some there. But make sure you check them out, ConnectRoasters.com. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Typical_Chicago, Facebook and Instagram. Type in Typical Chicago Fans. Give those pages a like. YouTube page. Make sure to subscribe there for all of our content in video form. Just type in Typical Chicago Fans. Hit that red subscribe button. You know what to do. Subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcasts. Wherever you find your podcasts, we are there. Make sure to follow Zach at Z, Lilia, TCF, and, of course, Maddie at schools_01. You can find me on Twitter at BoomyTCF. Make sure to head on over to Twitter. Make sure to thank Ian Happ for coming on the show. Boys, episode 105 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.